The Me Too movement.
Me Too movement.
In the Me Too movement.
I will say it right now out loud. Me too.
Welcome to episode 3 of Mobilizing Me Too. In the era of #MeToo, people are figuring out ways to turn the social media movement into action. Today, I'm talking to an activist in the music scene who founded an organization focused on creating safer spaces. A warning for listeners, this podcast talks about sexual assault. My name is Amber McClendon, and I'll be talking to you today.
So my name is Veronica Lawrence. I'm one of the co-founders of the Society for the Advocacy of Safer Spaces, also known as SAS.
SAS was founded in 2016 as a response to Calgary's arts community in need of an organization to help tackle issues like homophobia, racism, and sexual assault. In partnership with Calgary Sexual Health Center, they host workshops on fostering safer spaces, largely including music venues. Besides being a part of these workshops, conferences, and symposiums to talk about sexual assault, among other issues, they've also evolved into a sort of resource hub that connects with other similar efforts nationally and provides sexual assault survivors with support and venues with the information they need to create safer spaces.
Because it's not just about necessarily being a safer space so much as it's about being an accountable space. Because, the reality of safer spaces is that, we do the best that we can and we come up with these policies and we try to create the conditions where things are much, much, much less likely to happen. But one person can sort of wreck everything for everyone. And so it's really about setting the conditions to make things less likely to happen, but then also having a policy in place so that you know exactly what to do if something does go wrong, which is, of course, not ideal, but it's the reality.
Part of SAS's work to create safer spaces includes warning venues when they've booked someone who's been accused of sexual assault. When people speak out about potential perpetrators, it can often prompt backlash, likening such actions to ruining the individual's career or acting on the accusation without proof. Lawrence is no stranger to this.
It's just, this idea of innocent until proven guilty is a legal condition. It's not a community-based idea. You can believe your friend. You can believe when a woman comes forward and says this has happened to her, because what reason does she have to lie? Every single time that a woman comes forward, there are dozens of people that suddenly pop out of the woodwork. And it's not gender specific. It's men, it's women, it's non-binary folk. It's people popping out of the woodwork to suddenly say, oh, well, he's my friend. And how do you know he did that? It's like, because I saw him do it because he did it to me. People are always willing to defend because it's really hard to imagine that people did something that is this terrible. And so, it's so much better to just believe them because they really don't have any reason to lie.
For musicians, like friends and people you might personally know, the concept is no different.
It's so convenient to just say, oh, well, that probably didn't happen, and keep listening to their records and keep having those songs mean something to you and those lyrics that touched your heart and going to their shows and being part of that environment that really makes you feel special. It's totally convenient to just keep things exactly as they are. It's really, really inconvenient to believe survivors and to honor their wishes and to, respect community accountability, but it has to happen.
Lawrence explains that, from personal experience and knowledge in the scene, women who play in bands or by themselves often don't stick around for the long run, largely because they face sexual harassment at a much greater rate than men might in music. While representation of women on stage is nice to see, she explains the whole picture is much larger.
And I think, yes, it's nice to have representation on stage, but I think when you have representation at a much higher level than that, when you have the decision makers being, comprised of a much more equitable population, I think then you're really looking at how we can see more systemic change. Because those people that are on the stage are still relying on those bookers and those managers and those editors and those station managers to book them or promo their stuff. I often think about the sliding doors version of the arts community and what it would look like if women and non-binary people and men could all coexist in like an equitable space and just create art and have it be solely based on merit, and see like the incredible stuff that would come out of that. But I think we're a long way from that version of the arts community, certainly. So.
While sexual assault is certainly not something society is just learning exists, #MeToo has increased the media attention of the topic. So how can the music scene and community at large learn from the social media movement?
And so I think it's having those face-to-face discussions and making sure that you have the knowledge to be able to have those conversations. And, for especially men, I think it's really, really important to just listen, just sort of do your best to put aside your preconceived notions about what this looks like and what's happening and who's doing it, and really just try and listen to what, non-men are asking of you, and listen to what non-men have experienced, and, try to find actionable things that you can do. Because I think that's the next step, is how do we turn this into action, and how do we take all of these ideas and these, these sort of action items and really take them forward, because that's what's really going to start changing things.
Thank you to Veronica Lawrence for talking to us. You can find out more about Society for the Advocacy of Safer Spaces at sascalgary.com or at sascalgary on Facebook. I'm Amber McClendon, and I'd like to thank Robin Welsh for helping produce this episode.